Hey guys, it's Tombox. Welcome to MST.TV, and today I am going to showcase to you guys the Infernoble Knights. This is my take on it, and yes, this is a thick deck. Super thick. Much more than 40. Why am I not playing 40? It's because this is a combo deck, and since a lot of it's just one card combo, and you have 7 Rotas, and you have many 2-card combinations that kind of just does the exact same thing, it just checks out. It's like super consistent and doesn't really brick. And yeah, I actually been winning more because I put in all the other techs. It makes it a lot less predictable. Some people already know that the first couple of moves in Infernoble Knights, very predictable stuff, but once you get to like the intricacies of like having the different types of extenders, it becomes much more viable in the meta, and it's definitely one of those high tier decks. This deck is hot for sure. This is unlike a lot of the other combo decks out there. It's complicated because it branches out really far, but it always funnels down to this very similar place at the end. But it's about how you navigate. It actually requires skill to play, which is why I highly recommend you guys to pick it up. And luckily, most of it is pretty affordable for anyone to kind of pick up. So make sure you guys smash the thumbs up button, hit the like, hit subscribe, and I will go right into this. I've also got combos. I got a lot of combos, which is why this video is pretty long, but the combos are in depth and explained to you guys so that you guys know what's going on at each step. It's a lot easier for you guys to follow, and let's get to it. Start off with the main deck monsters. Okay, so starting off, we have Triple Gear Feed. This is our boss monster. We love this guy, and we also kind of hate him because he kind of bricks in your hand if you have like too many copies, but it's always better to have it than not. Luckily, this deck is a 1-card combo-esque deck. Feel free to change it if you guys don't want to play all the different engines that I shoved in here. Feel free to cut it out. Having this is a safety net, but it does manipulate your zone because it eats up one of your spaces, and due to the fact that it eats your spaces, you won't be able to combo as efficiently, and your end board won't be as strong, especially if you start with it. But it is safer, and I still think it's worth it. Next, we have Renault. Triple Renault, because this is your free extender as well as your resource fetcher. It fetches back some of the resources you use, such as your warrior, your flame warriors, or your equip spells. And I think it's actually essential that you have to play 3. There's no way you can get this one. It also becomes a tuner when you summon it with its own effect. Then we have Augier. Technically, this is a combo with Renault because you can actually get a pretty safe setup with the Gearfried. But it also is acting as a Foolish Bearer for your spells as well. So you can dump in your Durandal, and then you can fetch it back with Renault, and then you can get yourself a full combo setup because that would be already 2 monsters on the field that are warriors, and you can just get your whole combo off. That's why I'm playing 3 of this. This is one of your more important cards, and if it's equipped to a card, the monster cannot be destroyed by card effects, which is quite essential because people like to Lightning Storm all the time these days. And then we have Oliver. I'm playing 2. This one you want to fetch out. You don't want this one in your hand usually, but it is a type of extender, but it is a bit more costly because you have to send stuff to the graveyard to summon him out. But when you do summon him out with his own effect, it does reduce his level. But remember, this is also your tuner. This is your method to go into Hecate Fibrax, or typically you'll be using this card to go into Roland. And then, okay, for my engines to set up the Isolde, we have Sublimation Knight and the Squeak Knight. This one, of course, you get to on normal or special equip a Fire Warrior or a Gemini monster from your hand or deck, which means even if you open with this card, it's fine, you can still do it. For this Union monster, of course, because it being a Union monster, you can just summon it back out, and therefore you have 2 warriors. Don't use this effect. If you use this effect, like the effect to turn it into a tuner, you will be locked out of your entire turn. You just basically skip your own turn for free because you have no additional extra deck summons. Just keep that in mind. It's super crucial. Next, we have Neospace Connector. I kind of want to cut this part out, but I do play the hand rip, so I can't. And it's also counting as 2 warriors, so you can use it to bait some stuff out. But if you're going to be playing Neospace Connector, you have to... I highly recommend you guys to also play Fire Flint Lady, because it's one of the warrior extenders that you can use that doesn't care about the typing. You can't use Renault with this, so you can't really extend with Renault. So that's why you have to play Fire Flint Lady. Like, if you get ashed, you can still make your combo, and especially if you get ashed, this is like the perfect extender because now you don't have to deal with ash anymore. So there's that going for it. Again, like most decks of this current format, you have to be able to eat 2 hand traps. And if you don't have 2 hand traps, you're basically dead. You're going to get comboed, and hopefully you have a Dark Ruler no more, or else it's not going to work. And of course, Aqua Dolphin gets to rip cards out of your hand. And the hand rip combo, there's one combo that I feature at the end that banishes 2 cards and rips 2 cards. And that's thanks to Aqua Dolphin. Yeah, it's it's about a 2-card combo-esque. Now for the extenders, we have Quantum Red Layer, Fireflint Lady. This is usually a searcher. Typically it gets synchroned out of your hand because of Tatsunoko. Fireflint Lady is a pretty decent opening if you open Renault plus a the Augie, so that you can go into your gear feed pretty easily. Doesn't matter which path you go, whether you open with both monsters or a spell and a monster, you can still get there. And then we got some of the tuner choices. I know my package is really big, so feel free to change it up. This is completely up to you, but I don't mind running a larger deck for this one because of in terms of resource advantage, everything's just like a one card thing. So running a bunch of them doesn't really hurt you as much. Of course, if you open with all of them at once, yes, that does suck. It's not that great. But Violent Sphere, after playing with it, I've been enjoying this one quite a bit. It changes your combos up, especially when your combos are going to be successful. You know that you've baited out everything and you can do the Violent Sphere stuff. Prepare to rip your opponent's entire hand apart, or you can do a combo where even if it's a one card combo, if you use a Violent Sphere to kind of as a part of the execution, you end with the triple negate double rip or something along those lines. I think it's combo number 2, which is technically a standard combo if you do play the Violent Sphere. Jet Synchron is my choice over the Despot 01, just because I can control the timing a little bit better. Then there's Genba. Genba lets you go into Tatsunoko play, and then we have to play the Mecha Phantom Beast O-Lion. If you don't play the O-Lion, you will not be playing the Auroradon. And sometimes, yes, you do use the O-Lion before you even go into the Auroradon. In that case, you already have your Tuner 3 and your Tuner 5, then the Auroradon is just an additional body for you. You're just using the tokens. And you know what? That's fine too. I know this seems like a bit clunky. Trust me, it's super consistent and it doesn't really hurt that much. As for hand traps, I'm only running 1 pair of hand traps for now, but I do play Impermanent, so technically I have 6. Triple Ghost Ogre. I don't have any issues with most of the other decks, aside from the ones that do lockout, and Numerons is a big problem. So Subterror Numeron and Eldritch Numeron, if they successfully get Zexal out, most of my cards to summon themselves out, they activate. Gearfried activates, Firefall Lady activates. The only ones that don't activate is Renault and the Red Layer. So those are the only 2 that don't. So in any case, once they get their Zexal off, I basically end my turn, and that really hurts. So I need something to stop the Numeron network. Aside from the Numeron network, I also need to use this to take care of other Infernoble Knights, because the Infernoble Knight deck, the first 2 bodies that they put out is most important, and you can use this to also hit the Assault, and then they won't have the body and they won't have the activation ready, so they have to find some way to revive, which is why I'm also considering running Monster Reborn in this current build. And onto the spell lineup. For our straight Rhodas, we have 1 Reinforcements of the Army and triple Heritage of the Chalice, because this is just Rhoda. This is a once per turn Rhoda. This is our only copy of Rhoda. This is just for Noble Knights and Noble Arms. And if a Noble Knight monster equipped with a Noble Arm is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, while this card is in the graveyard, add this card back to your hand. Just remember that you can actually fetch stuff back. And I think just don't forget about that. A lot of people forget about it. They just treat it as a Rhoda. They forget about it. And that's the difference between a top tier player and a not top tier player. Next, we have Durandal. So 1, 2, and of course, Infernoble Arms Durandal is your 3rd Rhoda, or rather your 3 other Rhodas, because you can destroy this equip spell to add a level 5 or lower Fire Warrior. As for the other equips for our Isolde, we have Smoke Thief, we have Arfaderp. These are Living Fossil, Noble Arms, our Feuditor. I think that's how you say it. We have Divine Sword, Phoenix Blade, and of course the Smoke Grenade of the Goblin Thief. Probably the most cheesy spell card that's not once per turn that can help you rip apart your opponent's hand while looking at it. So that's pretty mean. It's pretty good, actually. It's essential to the deck. You have to have it, or else you'll be playing at a severe disadvantage. Next, of course, we have Triple Cop of the Grave. We are combo based. We don't want to get hit by an Ash, and even if we do, we want to be able to call it off. And luckily, we don't run Ash ourselves, so it's not going to hinder us. We play Ghost Ogre. And for my final 3 cards, we have Triple Impermanence, because I have to deal with the Numeron stuff. I don't want to get Zexal. I don't want to get VFD'd. So these are cards that I'm basically forced to play, and usually you have to pair it off with something. In the future, I'm going to probably switch it with Forbidden Droplets, but mainly it's because of the Dragoons. But for now, let's go with the Imperm. Imperm can take care of Crystal Hunkley Fibrax. It can take care of the Assault if they're trying to push. It's probably one of the better choices, and they can't get called by the Grave, which is why I 100% recommend it for now, and maybe switch it up later. Okay, and for the extra deck, I play double Isolde, because it's Isolde, you're a bunch of warriors, and even if you get like part of it ripped out of your extra deck, at least you'll have a copy. But if this card gets hit by a Ghost Reaper, well, good luck. I don't know what you would do after that. for now anyways. Next we would have a Link Cross. Let's just dump everything out here. We have Aurodon. This is the entire Link package. We have a Link Cross, Hackley Firebrax, of course Mecha Phantom Beast, Aurodon, and Access Code Talker isn't exactly a necessary spot. I haven't actually summoned him out more than like once. It was just, I was already winning, and when I dropped him, the guy was like 100% dead. There was like no way he can actually break through this. But it's hard for it to gain the attack boost. It sold into it, so it was only like a 2,000 boost. But there was a time where I didn't even get a boost because I just used 4 materials to actually summon him out. So because the Link package is so compact, it's harder to actually summon them up. But when you do, it's mainly because you're doing it through the additional soul, because it's pretty easy to spit out a bunch of monsters. Okay, as for the synchros, let's go into some of our Infernoble Knights, or Noble Knights rather. We have Ignoble Knight. This is Lonsalon. Lonsalon, part of your opening play, this best rarity, guys, is Platinum Rare. In other words, you don't really have to spend a fortune on it. I know it's basically sold out everywhere right now because of the hype. There's also the Captain Roland. Just remember to resolve his effect, because it's really important for the Charles. Charles is the one that lets you rip your opponent's hand apart because it blows up your equipped spells. Or rather, it blows up a card on the field, including your own equipped spells. And that's why it's essential. And you can actually make them really strong. Equip both Oliver and Ogier. OGA, and you'll be able to basically make it untargetable and indestructible by card effects, and then it'll keep popping cards during the end phase, which is really, really good. And remember, his effect on Roland's has a quick effect during the main phase to equip itself from the graveyard, so that is going to be able to proc the Charles at any point. So them two together is going to basically act as a disruption. Just remember that. It's really essential. Just don't randomly just waste your Roland, because this is a disruption that you spend some resources to develop. Now onto my package here. Everyone's package is a little bit different. My package here is a little bit more focused with Tatsunoko, so I can synchro from my hand, so I can use the level 5 dude. Some people are trying to cut this package up, because if you're not going to run Tatsunoko, don't run the level 5. We also have Metal Marcher, because it's just an essential part of the deck. And I have one Herald of Arclight. You don't really summon this one as often unless you have Renault and an extra token available. As for the higher levels, we have a Coral Dragon. I am not running Stardust Charge Warrior, because what am I really going to use it for at the moment? I actually had both at one point, but I had to cut it out. I just didn't really have a choice because my extra deck is already completely packed. But I could cut it for the Trishula, because the Trish I have not summoned out yet. I know it's an option, because if you can go to Charles, you can easily go into Trishula. And of course, Borderlord Savage is the last one. The key point here is Trish is pretty decent if you want to banish something out of your opponent's hand, and it's just honestly not as good without, like, I know it was a contingency play before when you had Shooting Star Riser, because then you use like the 2 Link Cross token plus that, you can make a Trish during your opponent's turn, which is okay, that's pretty cool. But right now, this is like a last-ditch effort. I might switch it to Arctis, just so that I can do some popping and some hand management and gain additional cards. But that's my current take of the extra deck. What are things that you think are essential in the extra deck? Let me know down in the comments section below, and let's get into some combos. Alright guys, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button and hit subscribe, ding the notification bell, because we're going to be showcasing combos now, and we're going to do 4 combos, right? So we've got a basic warrior combo, 2 warrior combo A, 2 warrior combo B, and then we're going to go into Renault and Augie, which is personally my favorite hand to open with because it's one of the safer ones for sure. And finally, we're going to go through the hand loop, which is also possible with this version of the deck, but feel free to cut it out if you guys don't want to play it. Okay, for the 2 warrior combo, it's any combination of 2 warrior. It's a 1 card, 2 card, or 3 card combo, depending on how many hand traps you eat or how many extenders you're willing to push forward. It's a strong board that you finish with, and I think it gives you enough control, especially for strong players. It really rewards them for being knowledgeable about the game, because you get to look at your opponent's hand and counter them accordingly. So, starting off with the Sublimation Knight, because these 2, they are 1 card generators of 2 warriors. This one can be Ash, which hurts a bit more. It's harder to extend further, but if you have additional push, then it's still pretty good. But Aqua Dolphin, once you get it out, you get to secure it as a much safer play. Remember the Goki days? And then we also have Sublimation Knight, which gives us the Squeak Knight. That's the one we're going to go with for this particular version of the combo. So starting off with the normal summon of the Sublimation Knight, we're going to equip ourselves with the Squeak Knight. And since it's a Union monster, it can push itself out. It's also a warrior. Look at that. And that's good, but don't activate the effect. If you activate the effect, you are well, you're a scrub, because now you can only summon once out of your extra deck, and that's basically GG. Skip your turn, so don't even get curious to activate the effect. So now we're going to go ahead and link them off. We're going to go into an Isolde. Isolde's effect is going to activate to give us a search. This search is going to provide us with a red layer, because we don't really need it and we're not going to use it in this particular version of the combo. The second one, the one coming up, will use the red layer in our hand. And alright, so with that in mind, if this card gets hit by Imperm, gets hit by Ogre, you need so many extenders or Monster Reborn to keep pushing, and that's why it gets pretty rough when that happens. Next, going ahead and activate Isolde's effect. We're going to send to the graveyard. Since we do not have Oliver in our hand, we're going to send a Durandal. If we had Oliver in our hand, we're going to send a Smoke Grenade so we can rip more cards. And now we can summon a Renaud. And Renaud's effect is going to activate because it was special summon. We're going to add the Durandal back into our hand. Now this was special summoned from the effect of Isolde, so this is not a tuner yet. And it probably won't be a tuner. We're going to activate the Durandal that we just added back to our hand. We're going to activate the Durandal to pop itself to add the Oliver to our hand. Alright, so this is how it's kind of proceeding right now. And with the Oliver in our hand, we're going to activate it to send Renaud into the graveyard and summon out the Oliver. This is going to change itself to level 1, but it still remains as a tuner because this is by base a tuner already. Now the reason why you have to send the Renaud into the graveyard is you need to maintain your zones. You need the extra space, or else you won't be able to synchro properly because you need the additional bodies to do so. Alright, so with that in mind, we're going to turn the Isolde into our Link Cross. Alright. So with the Link Cross, special summon out, and now we're going to generate out our 2 tokens. Zoning here doesn't really matter because you're just constantly going to reuse the same zones over and over. And now we have 2 tokens, 2 level 1 tokens, and now we're going to take our Oliver and our Link Cross. We're going to link that into everyone's favorite Crystal and Hectic Vibrax. Hectic Vibrax is going to summon out the O-Lion. The reason why you can summon out O-Lion now is because the Mecha Phantom Beast isn't exactly going to be used except for the token generation part of it, and you're not going to need the O-Lion in this particular play. The other versions, you can actually use the O-Lion later on. That's something that's a little bit different, but it's something that you can keep in mind of how you can use it. So now we're going to go ahead and synchro the 1 and the 2, and that's going to generate the Metal Marcher. Metal Marcher is going to actually revive another card. It's going to revive our Oliver, not the O-Lion, and the O-Line is also going to generate a token for us. This token is very important because it's our machine token, the machine token that's going to give us the Auroradon. So now we're going to take the 1 and the 4 because we need the zones open. We need 3 zones available to get our tokens out. So now we're going to go into Roland, Captain Roland. Effect activate, so now just maintain the game state where this will send an equip to the grave and add a Fire Warrior during the end phase. And now that we can just use these 2 to generate the 3 zones available, so now we can just straight up just link it off. And because they're both machines, we can go into our Auroradon. Alright, because we have the Auroradon, we're going to activate the effect and generate our 3 tokens. And now we can just play with the 3 tokens and finish off our board. So let's start with the Borreload Savage. These are level 3 tokens, so get the Borreload Savage Dragon. And that's going to activate, it's going to equip the Crystal Hack with Vibrax. And then the Metal Marcher, we're going to go up. We're just going to Synchro Climb. For a 6 Coral Dragon, this doesn't really activate anything, but you still get a draw. Very similar. And now we're going to take these 2 and we're going to synchro them out, and now we get ourselves a Charles. Alright, Charles, Auroradon, you got a bunch of big bodies here, and Coral Dragon's going to allow us to draw 1 additional card. Alright, that's pretty cool. Now we're going to activate Oliver's effect. Remember, we put Oliver into the graveyard. This is going to protect us during the end phase, and we're going to equip it to our Charles, so Charles cannot be negated anymore. Just in case they want to just stop the negation from this particular card. This is not going to be stoppable anymore. And now probably want to set a card because we're going to be adding a card, so we'll be forced to discard, so we'll just set 1 card and try to choose your best choice because you're going to need to set 2 cards available. If you set 2, you're not going to be able to do the proper popping, and you're not going to keep the protection as well. So we'll just perhaps just set 1 card that is most useful. Let's put this here. And then now Charles is going to not yet activate. We're going to wait for a second. We're going to do Roland first. Roland's going to put the smoke bomb into the grave, and we're going to add ourselves a node into our hand. And now we're going to use Charles's effect, which is going to equip the smoke grenade and an augur. So the OGR is on there, and because something was equipped, now we can actually trigger it. And we're going to pop the smoke grenade. That's going to rip one card out of our opponent's hand, and we get to actually look at their hand. So we have negation and pop. And during your opponent's turn, this is the key thing here. During your opponent's turn, keep in mind, during the main phase, Roland is a disruption. A lot of people kind of forget that this is the disruption that you can activate, equip back onto Charles, and pop another card. But if you somehow make it to the end phase without needing the pop, remember, this is pretty hard to kill. This one is like immune to targeting. It's hard to kill by battle, and it cannot be destroyed by card effects. So if you can somehow get to the end phase and you want to rip another card out of your opponent's hand, get the smoke grenade and pop the smoke grenade. You can rip another card out of their hand just to make sure that you get a bit of extra safety net. Or of course you have that pop during mid game, so you have quite a bit of disruption against your opponent. That would be the first version of the combo. Alright, so the 2 warrior basic combo version B. This one was inspired by Aether Gaming. This is the one where you uses Violon Sphere. I've tried to minimize my extra deck, so I am actually not running a second level 8, and I'm going to try to push through the exact same combo without the second 8. I think it's actually still possible. You just have to rearrange a couple of moves in there. So here we go, starting off with Neo Space Connectors. This is again 2 card effect. We're going to summon out the Aqua Dolphin in defense mode, and we're going to dump the Squeak Knight, rip 1 card out of your opponent's hand. Check it, just make sure you're not running into an Nibiru blindly. And okay, so we have with 2 warriors, we're gonna go ahead and link them off, and we can get ourselves the Assault. Assault's effect we're going to add to our hand. We're gonna set it up. This one I kind of want to give a shout out to Shen Ping Zhu, because I actually watched that one first. Also check out his video in his YouTube channel, the Senpai Zhu's YGO Lab. And from here we get ourselves a Quantum Red Layer, because we're actually going to use it. We're going to use everything that we try to search in this one. So this one, if you like to recycle, reuse, and reduce, this is the one for you. And from here, we're going to activate Assault. We're going to send 2 cards. And these are 2 cards that has to be these 2, which would be the Durandal. And we're also going to send the Living Fossil, because we are actually going to use these cards rather than just dump them out. So we have to use the Living Fossil. With those 2, we're going to summon out the Genba onto the field, which will be our level 2 tuner. Now we're going to take the Assault, we're going to link it off, generate some tokens, because we're going to go into both Tatsunoko and our Metal Marcher. So this is going to go into Link Cross. Link Cross is going to activate summoning out 2 tokens. Again, most of these combos, yes, they are susceptible to Nibiru, so if you want to play it safe, of course, just wait for the next combo. It's much safer. But then, of course, it doesn't do as much devastation. So with this, we can already set up most of it here. So we're going to go ahead and take our 2 monsters here, a level 1 and a level 3. We're going to synchro into our Metal Marcher. Metal Marcher is going to revive our Genba. Genba is going to go ahead and synchro off once more. And this time we're going to go into Tatsunoko. Tatsunoko's effect will let him basically synchro with our hand, and this is going to allow us to go into our Borload Savage. Now we are manipulating our zones with a limited space. We have like 3 open zones available, but it's okay. With this combo, you're fine because you already have the Borload Savage, which is one of your end board monsters, but it does still make it a bit clunky, especially when your extra monster zone is still used. If you mess up here and you trip up, that's the end of your turn, basically. So with that, we're going to go ahead and activate the effect of Borload Savage. We're going to equip ourselves a Noble Knight Assault, so they can get maximum amount of attack for whatever that's available right now. And from here, we can go ahead and just link these guys off to Crystal Hackley Firebacks. So with that in mind, now we have it all set up. Now this is the part that gets a little bit wackier. Crystal Hackley Firebacks. We are going to go ahead and summon out the Violon Sphere, because Sphere lets you reuse some of the equips in your graveyard. By when it's sent to the graveyard as a monster, it becomes basically its own equip by paying 500, target something, and then it can blow itself up to equip something else. So from here, we're going to go ahead and, well, because it's still machine and it's a tuner, which is why it's so good, this is going to let us go into the Aurora Dawn. Alright, Auroradon's going to generate 3 tokens. These are level 3, guys. Just remember, these are all level 3. We're going to make them all different, but just remember these are all level 3 tokens. And Violent Sphere is also going to activate as well. Of course, this is, if you do it Chain Link 1, Chain Link 2, you can perform a bit of a chain blocking, keeping this one live for sure. Now with Violent Sphere, well, most likely you're going to get hit by something like an effect failure, so it's kind of not really that protected. Now with Violent Sphere, we can go ahead and equip it onto the Savage, and with that, we can go ahead and activate Violent Sphere. We're going to pop it. Luckily, most of these swords, they can be equipped with anything. So we're going to equip ourselves with the Durendal. Alright. Durendal's effect, we're going to pop it, send it to the graveyard, and add Renaud to the hand. So now we have Renaud in our hand. With Renaud in our hand, we can now not really use it just yet, but we can actually use the effect of Mecha Phantom Beast Auroradon. We're going to activate effect Tribute 2. Alright. And that's going to allow us to summon out our O-Lion. Hooray. Now, these are level 3 tokens, remember? So we're going to now sync these off. Alright. And this is going to generate a new token for us. So first of all, let's synchro. And we're going to get our Rollin. Rollin effect and also O-Lion effect. That's going to allow us to summon out a level 3 token back onto the field. Alright, so this is a level 3. Level 3. Keep in mind these are level 3s. I know it says level 1 on the art. So these are level 3s. And now that we have a Fire Warrior, and don't forget to activate the Rollin as well. So activate all of these, everything. Just whatever that's going to keep everything on board. Chain Link 1, Chain Link 2. And then now we can go ahead and just summon out Renaud because we control a Fire Warrior. So we can special summon this one out. This is now a tuner because it was summoned out through that effect. And with that, we can add the Living Fossil. Hooray, add back a Premature Burial because we can definitely do this. And from here, what happened before was that there was an 8 that went into, and then a 9. So what I'm gonna do slightly differently is that we're gonna do this. We're going to just make a 4. We're just gonna start with the 4. All right. And with the 4, we're going to make ourselves the Herald right away. And then now we can just Living Fossil back our Renaud. Since you Living Fossiled it back, it's not a tuner anymore. So we can take our 5, our 1, and our 3, and this creates our 9. We can basically even trish our opponent if we really wanted to. And we can just synchro all of this stuff off, and now we can get ourselves our Charles. Alright. The best part about this whole play is that now that this is on the field, any monster that gets ripped out gets banished. So I don't have to worry about any sort of big problems. And with that in mind, do I have anything else in the graveyard? In this particular hand, then it won't set up anything for you to really preemptively equip. But luckily, during the end phase, it's going to activate. We're going to activate our Rollin first. We're going to toss into the graveyard. Luckily, this is a spell card. It's not going to really affect us. We're going to toss in our Smoke Grenade. And we're going to add to our hand, get something useful. I guess we can get ourselves another Renaud. And for Charles, we're going to equip the Smoke Grenade and an Augie. And we're going to activate the effect of Charles. We're going to pop the Smoke Grenade, rip another card out of their hand. And this one's actually banished. And they're going to have a really fun time playing against you. And luckily for us, we still have Rollin, so we have another pop that's going to result in a banish. We have negation and we have double negation. So this is quite a powerful board. I would say it's better than the first one. Now if Nibiru is your arch nemesis, this is what you can do. As long as you have the Augie and a Chalice, or an Augie with a Renaud, you can do the combo. But these two go through different paths. This one's way more obvious because you get the equip right away, and it's very easy to set up the Gear Freed from the first play. But for the one where you don't have any equips, you can still work your way to get the equip and still full combo. So that's exactly what we're going to demonstrate here. So we're going to normal summon out the Augie right now, and we're going to dump into the graveyard our Gear Freed. And we have Renaud, so we're going to special summon out the Renaud and add the Gear Freed back into our hand. So no equips just yet, so you can't really summon him out, but we're going to perform a Synchro summon this time, and we're going to Synchro into Best Rarity Boy that looks like a fake card. We have our Ignoble Knight of High Lansalin, or we're just going to call him Lancelot, and he's going to equip himself directly upon Synchro Summon a Durandal. And now that we have the Durandal, we got ourselves the equip. We're going to activate the effect and pop it, but the search target we're going to go for is not as obvious. We're going to go for Fire Flint Lady this time because the Fire Flint Lady is a free special summon as long as you control a warrior. And so it doesn't even have to restrict you to Fire Warrior, so you can immediately jump it out, but we're not going to jump it out. It's crazy because our fourth summon has to be the Gear Freeze, so we're going to banish the Durandal from the graveyard to do so. And now we're going to activate Augear to give us the equipment. Now we're safe from Nibiru, so we got the Nibiru safety. Now we're going to activate the Fire Flint Lady, special summon herself out, and now we can go into Isolde safely. So this is how you do it with the Lanzalon or Lonsalon opening, and now we're going to use the Isolde effect. And with the Isolde effect, we're just going to add to our hand a level 5. So we're going to get ourselves the red layer. We're just going to do the 2 play because it's actually easier to maintain our zones that way. Otherwise, it's really hard to get to the Auroradon part. But if you guys have a better way of doing it, leave it down in the comments section below. Would appreciate, you know, being educated by you guys as well, and definitely, well, again, like I said, appreciate you guys for doing so. And I think just getting smarter by talking to you guys. So now we got this part. We're gonna use the effect. We're gonna send 2. One, we're gonna send the Phoenix Blade because we're actually gonna use the Phoenix Blade for 1, and the other one we're just gonna do Smoke Grenade because Smoke Grenade is Smoke Grenade because Smoke Grenade is pretty annoying, and it gives you a bit of that safety net, knowing how to play with like the knowledge where your opponent you know, have their knowledge of their hand is like super crucial because you can just negate the right things and ignore the unnecessary things. And with that, we're gonna summon out Gemba. And with Genba, we know where this is going, so we're going to speed this part up. We're just going to go into a Link Cross. Link Cross is going to summon out the 2 tokens, and with the 2 tokens, we're going to just synchro these out. And now we're going to our Metal Marcher. Yes, we're burning Metal Marcher pretty early on in this one. And we're going to revive the Genba. We're going to synchro the Genba with the other level 1 token. This one's mainly just for the tuner, and this particular one is for synchroing from the hand. So we're going to go with the Tatsunoko. With the Tatsunoko, we're going to synchro with the red layer. Alright, so now that we've synchronized the red layer, we got ourselves a Borreload Savage Dragon. With the Borreload Savage, we do have something to equip. We're going to equip ourselves with this Isolde, which is great. This is super ideal. And now with the Metal Marcher and the Link Cross, now we can go into our Krishna Hakli Fibrax. And with the Hakli Fibrax, we're going to use the effect to summon out Jet Synchron. It has to be Jet Synchron for this one, because if you go into like Despot 01, you're not going to be able to summon it back up because your zones are all clogged already. So there's no point. So we're going to go Jet Synchron because we can control the timing, as I mentioned before in the previous combo. And from here, now we can go into our Auroradon. Auroradon's going to summon out our 3 tokens. All right. So with the 3 tokens, this is easy management. And we're just going to activate the effect, Tribute, the Auroradon itself. And now we can summon out our O-Lion. So now that we have the O-Lion, Synchro, this is a 3 plus a 2. We get ourselves our roll-in. Keep in mind, this has to go into the extra monster zone. If you don't put it in the extra monster zone, you will get screwed over. It's just a fact. You just don't have the zone spacing. O-Line's going to activate, and a roll-in's going to activate, and that's going to generate another level 3 token onto the field. And, well, do you really need this token? I don't think you really do, but it can come up sometimes if you have additional extenders. And from here, we are going to use Phoenix Blade's effect. We are going to banish the Fire Flint Lady, and we can probably also get rid of the Lonsalon, I think. Yeah, we can get rid of this too. I'm going to just get rid of 2 warriors, add this to your hand. Now we're going to toss it into the graveyard, pay the cost for the Jet Synchron. We're going to synchro the 3 and the 1, and we're going to make ourselves an Arclight. This gets banished because you use the effect. Alright, and this is not a tuner, so now we can go ahead and synchro these off. We can go into our Charles, and this is the board that we're finishing off with. Leave the roll-in in there. We already activated the effect, so during the end phase, what's going to happen is that you can just go ahead and dump a card into the graveyard. I think you can dump Arthur, and we can add ourselves a Renault or anything that you really need, like whatever it is. To me, it doesn't really matter at this point. And then since we already have the Smoke Grenade, we're going to just get the Smoke Grenade. Yeah, Smoke Grenade, and this is also going to equip one from the deck. let's get Augie because protection is always great. And from here, effective Charles, pop the smoke grenade, rip a card out of your opponent's hand, and now we have the disruption that you have on this field is 1 pop, 1 monster negate, 1 omni negate, and then you have a couple cards in your hand. And this is all done with the safety of Nibiru. Okay guys, this is the Rip 4, 2 of which are going to be banished, and you're going to be choosing the ones that you're going to be banishing. So this is going to be one heck of a combo, which is really mean. I hope you guys don't use this against me ever. But here we go. So starting off, we're going to summon out the Neo Space Connector, just in some zone, doesn't really matter. And it's going to use its effect. It's going to summon out our Aqua Dolphin. So these are the hand rips that you don't really get to control and you don't really get to banish, and it's really difficult to kind of manage this part anyways, but let's hope that there's no hand trap. Activate the effect, cool, rip something out. Now special summon out the Fire Flint Lady. Fire Flint Lady, we're going to leave this one on board because we're going to recycle our Dolphin. And with that, go ahead and do this. Going to Isolde's effect, we're going to add a card into our hand which we're not really going to use, and perhaps we're just going to use as discard fodder for later. Maybe this red layer. If there's something else that's better in the graveyard, we can perhaps even go into, since it's mainly just discard fodder, and it's very unlikely that we're going to summon out Augie, so we're just going to use the Augie here. And now we are going to go ahead and use the actual effect and toss in 4 of our equips. So we got Durandal, you have to throw Durandal, we have to also throw in the Smoke Grenade, and the last one, it's just a preference, I suppose, on what you throw in there. So let's just throw in an Arthur there. Remember, they have to have different names. So here's our 4. That's going to allow us to summon out the Oliver. All right, Oliver now has been summoned out, and we're just trying to generate a board full of tokens. So now we're going to convert and link down into a Link Cross. Link Cross is going to generate level 1 tokens, so we're going to use these Phantasmal tokens as level 1. Okay, so we're trying to still empty out our board as much as possible, and we're trying to also maximize on Metal Marcher coming out later. So Metal Marcher can revive any type of tuner, so we're going to go into a tuner synchro, which is going to be our Captain Roland. They see me Roland, and I'm not going to meme that anymore. And okay, so now that we have a Roland effect will now activate, which is very essential here. Now remember, this is still the level 1 token, not to be confused with a different token here. We're just going to switch this one with that. So this is level 1, so we can keep track of that. We're going to take the Roland and the Link Cross because they're tuner, and go ahead and make Crystron Ugly Fibrax. Ugly Fibrax is going to activate, and that's going to summon out our Vylon Sphere. With the Vylon Sphere summoned out onto the field, we can actually just take the Vylon Sphere and just go ahead and sync it off and go into our Aurora Dawn. All right, all these, so many steps, guys. Aurora Dawn's going to activate, and so with the Vylon Sphere. Vylon Sphere is going to equip to the Neo Space Connector, and yeah, we're just going to just pump everything out. Now, unlike the other combo where you just use this and pop off and just rip a card out of their hand, right now your opponent is currently down 1 card from earlier. All right, supposedly down 1 card from earlier. Now I'm going to use Vylon Sphere. Remember, you paid 500 life for this. Keep track of time, guys. And we're going to re-equip ourselves with the Durandal. Durandal is going to help us fetch it back later on anyways by popping it. And now we get to add Renault. All right, now that we have Renault, we're basically ready to go off. So we have a level 1 token here, so we're going to tribute a 3 and the Aurora Dawn. And that's going to allow us to summon out our O-Lion. Now we take the O-Lion and the 1, and we're going to synchro with those. That's going to allow us to go into our new Metal Marcher, revive something and dropping a token. So we're going to drop a token right here, and we're going to also summon out our Roland that we purposely put into the graveyard much earlier, you know, 5 seasons ago. You know, just like Bakura when he was going to attack the Pharaoh 5 seasons ago. And from here, we have most of our setup. We have our Fire Warrior, we have the Fire Warrior, but here's the part where we're trying to set up properly. This can actually get turned into a tuner. Remember, this is going to be a tuner when it comes out. So we're going to take one of our 3s and one of our 5s. We're going to turn this into Borreload Savage, which is fine. Man, this hand ripping is taking forever. Borreload Savage is going to equip ourselves with the Aurora Dawn. All right. Now we can basically rip whatever we want, and we can just take these, synchro them for a 6, which in our current deck, we only have 1/6, which is the Coral Dragon, and then we can go ahead and synchro again. And once we synchro again, we go into our Charles. Now that we have our Charles, we have most of the stuff set up right now, but we don't have any type of the banishing part yet. And with this, Coral Dragon is going to activate, and we're going to draw an additional card. All right. So now that we have our setup, we're going to go ahead and activate the Renown. Then we have the Fire Warrior special summon, and in this case, we're going to add our Smoke Grenade back to our hand. And now we are going to use Neospace Connector. We're going to activate Tribute, summon back our Aqua Dolphin. Activate Aqua Dolphin's effect. We're going to throw Augie into the graveyard. And with Augie in the graveyard, we now get to rip something that's really, really big. So that's going to be a pretty safe net for us. And then after that, since this is a tuner and this is, well, this is not a tuner, we're going to synchro these two. And we're going to synchro to Herald of the Arclights. Whatever we rip now is going to be much more painful because now we ripped one already. Now we're going to go ahead and equip our Smoke Grenade onto Charles. Charles is going to activate right away and pop the Smoke Grenade. I know the end phase we're not going to pop anymore, but that's fine. But now we get to look at their hand and rip one and banish it. All right, so we're going to banish one. These are now banished. And then during the end phase, we get to do even more damage. Now, because we want to protect our Charles, we can go ahead and activate. I believe we do have an Oliver in here. Just going to activate, equip. End phase, Roland's effect. I think we have one card to toss in here. We can add any card we want to our hand. We can add the Sublimation Knight. And then we're going to use the effect of Charles. Charles is going to equip himself with something. We're going to go with a Smoke Grenade. And we're also going to equip ourselves with the Augie. Why not get the Augie? So now we're fully protected. And okay, so now it's going to be your opponent's turn. They're going to start their hand with 3 cards now. But once they get into the main phase, that's when everything goes wrong for them, because once we go into the main phase, we're going to activate a card effect, I guess. We're going to activate it right here, and then we're going to equip. We're going to pop the Smoke Grenade once again, and now we get to look at their hand, and we get to rip another one and banish it. So the moment they perform any type of action, they're going to get basically screwed, unless their first action is Dark Ruler no more. Then GG. I guess that would be their one counter, I suppose. Maybe you can actually do something to kind of stun it out by chaining some random card, but that's this is like the hand ripping here, which is full control more or less, because you still have 2 negations. If you don't want to rip their hand, which is fine, which would have been 3 already, and then you will have 3 answers for 3 cards. So that's all I got for this video, guys. If you guys enjoyed this video and learned a lot, you know, shout outs to Ether Gaming, shout outs to Nishi, shout outs to Justin for helping me acquire most of these cards in such short notice. You know, shout outs to you guys for sure. You know, without you guys, it's not possible. And for the combos, you know, I gotta do a lot of research. And I appreciate those guys who actually went ahead and did the research, and got to clean up some of the combo, get to redevelop certain parts of it, you know, thanks to you guys. So if you guys enjoyed all this, smash a thumbs up. If you guys learned a thing or two about Infernoble Knights, learning how to play the deck, you know, give me a like. That's all I really ask. And hit subscribe, ding the notification bell. I've got another deck profile coming up tomorrow, which is going to be Dogmatica Invoked, and I'll just break down the combo for you guys. I don't think there's too much more to talk about for that deck, but I'll share with you guys whatever I know. And until next time, I'll see you guys in the next one.